Hello, Gary Simon here of DesignCourse.com. Today we're going to create our actual MySQL tables and the table structures. And so basically this is a step that we're going to need to have done before we actually mess around with any type of PHP, all right? So in making the site basically active. So if you've never messed around with MySQL, well basically you do need to have a host. You can set it up locally. I've never done it, but I've always just used a host, and usually, basically every host out there, they offer MySQL databases. So you'll have to log into your host control panel to kind of figure out how to do that. And I'm going to be using PHP MyAdmin to basically set up those tables. All right, so yeah, check out DesignCourse.com if you haven't yet, and subscribe here on YouTube. All right, let's get started.
All right, so I'm going to be jumping all over the place on this, but my goal is to basically get the first and second step done today in terms of making it actually work and saving it to a database and all that stuff. So I'm going to get out a browser here. All right, so basically, let's go back to the index. The first step, they enter their needs. They can offer, whatever they put in here, separated by comma, and click on Find Matches. So there's a few things that have to take place after they click that. So first, I'm going to switch over here. This is going to be the part where you're going to need to log into your host, whoever that is, and you're going to have to figure out how to create a MySQL database. So I've already created one called Barterful, and so basically when you create one, you're given the option of specifying the name of it, of course, and then attaching a MySQL user to it, and you can make a custom MySQL database username and password for accessing this. So you will need basically also the MySQL address. So if you real quickly download the project files, and trying to get out the right window here, there's a new folder that I've included in it. So this is called include, and it has two files basically. So this DB as in database, this is something that we're going to be including on the top of every page. So index.php will include it up here. What this does is it connects to the MySQL server. So you're going to need 4 pieces of information. You're going to need your host name, and your basically your host provider will be able to provide that for you in the control panel, whatever type of system they use. Your username that you specified along with password, and then the database name goes here. All right, so the second file is just this class I've used for years upon years upon years, and it just makes basically taking PHP and querying the database, make it a little bit easier. So that's something I've used forever. So yeah, basically this stuff down here will actually do the connecting stuff from up here. So yeah, real quickly what I'll do is, in index.php at the top, I'll open up the PHP tags. And what we want to do is just type in require once, include, and then also the name of our first one, which is db.inc.php. All right, so that basically just takes that file and includes it into the index.php. So we'll do that twice and include that MySQL db.class.php. All right, and save that. Now, also, obviously, before you upload or whatever, you're going to need to save the credentials in here, which I'm going to do off screen so that, well, for obvious purposes. Okay, so I just paused and saved that file there, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. Okay, so now what we want to do is actually create the users table in MySQL. So PHP MyAdmin, this is basically a script that nearly all hosting providers provide and it allows you to basically interact with and create and modify MySQL databases. So I've already created the database. This is it right here, Bartiful. And inside the database, of course, you have your different tables for storing information. So the first one we want to create is going to be users. Okay, so basically, whenever I go to create a database, I just get out Notepad, I have the name up here, and then I have the individual fields that I want to create. So the name of this table is going to be users. It's going to have each one, basically every table I create has an ID, a unique ID that auto increments. And also an email, obviously, the city, the state. So these three things, they enter on the second step. And then just date added. This is just a field that we can specify about when they actually joined. So what we want to do is create the table name right here, and that is going to be users. Number of fields is 5. All right, so the first field is ID, and then you have the type. Now, if you never mess with MySQL, there's a lot of different data, or basically row types, and so int just means integer. So if it's just going to be numbers, that's fine. The length is how many characters that this field can hold. So 11 would be, I don't know how many, millions, but yeah. So also over here, you have all this other stuff. I always just make it null for the first one, primary, and then AI is auto increment. And then over here, we could put email, and that's going to be a varchar, and that can go up to 255 fields. I'm not sure how long the longest email can be. Just to be safe, I always just put 255 here. City, same thing. I know there's some long city names. I have no clue. State, I'm not sure if we're going to be... Let me switch back to our... let's see here. Step 2. Yeah, we're just saving basically... Yeah, the two-letter values of the name. We're not saving the full state name, so this only has to be 2. And then down here, date added. This is going to be a date time field. All right, so now we can hit save, and now it creates the table. So up here we have all these different tabs, and browse basically means you can browse the data that's been put in, but obviously we don't have any yet. All right, so basically let's minimize that. Let me get back out the HTML editor. We're on index.php. Okay, so basically what we need to do is at the top, let's also mind form action right here. If you specify an actual script, it'll submit when a person hits the submit button down here. It will submit that data, whatever input fields you have, to that specific page. But if you leave it blank, it will just submit to the same page itself. And so what you have to do, which is what we're going to do. So what you have to do in that case is look for when that form is submitted. All right. So there's a few ways you could do it. Usually I just get out, like for example, I offer this name. What you could do is if is set, and then post, and because we have the method is post right here, and then inside you could put the name of the field. So I need, and I have to probably, it'd be a good point to put a disclaimer on this. I'm a much better designer than I am a coder, but I've done things a certain way for so long, probably like well over a decade. I'm sure if any of you are like really experienced coders, and probably pick apart different things I'm doing wrong, but the point of this is just to make something that functions. All right, so basically if is set, that means if it exists, and it will exist if they click the find matches button, then whatever we specify in here will occur. All right, so just a quick example, we could put echo, and we'll put yay submitted. All right, just like that. And if we save this, I'm gonna pause real quick so I can get those files Okay, so I've transferred all these new files over to butterfly.com, and we bring up the browser. Basically, as you can see, we don't have that yay submitted thing here because it hasn't actually been submitted. But if we hit find matches, we see that it says yay submitted. So that's roughly how that works. If you never mess with PHP, MySQL, then yeah, that's a very handy thing to know, obviously, very basic. So, and basically, the first thing we need to concern ourselves when it comes to people submitting that form is making sure that both of the fields are filled out. So both are required, obviously. So if a person doesn't fill out those fields, then obviously we don't want to save any data or whatever. We want to display some type of message that lets them know, hey, both fields are required. So the field names are I need and I offer. So what we want to make sure of is they're not empty. So instead of just checking to see if it was submitted at all, the first thing we want to do is, instead of is set, we can put if post I need doesn't equal, and that's a sign for that, so it's exclamation point and equal sign, doesn't equal blank, and then put also and, two and signs means and. I think you use empty as well, but I've always done it like this. Probably not smart, whatever. I offer doesn't equal that. Okay, so we can check now if we upload this. And oops, I need to remove that one. That's why I errored. So if we upload this and come back here, basically if we submit this, then it's still not going to show us anything. But if we enter just something in here randomly, yes, there's stuff in the field. So if we just do one, we can see it doesn't work. Yeah, just like that. So let me come down here. Now what we want to do, and I shouldn't have removed that first one, is basically put, let's see here. We are going to do the if is set post I need. We are going to keep that one. Shouldn't have got rid of that. Close that up. Now, inside of here, also, yeah, we want to change this to or. So, they could enter one and leave the other one blank. Yeah, that would be bad. So what we want to do down here is else. So that means, okay, well, one of them are basically blank. So we have to put some type of message. So I'm going to make a variable, or let's call it error MSG equals you left one of the fields blank. Whatever. You can make it say whatever you want, basically. And then down here, what we can do is put in an area, the div class alert. So basically, inside here, we can put PHP if is set error MSG echo error MSG. All right, so actually, you know what? I think I'm going to change how that works. 1 second. I'm going to copy this portion. I'm just going to put echo error MSG, and then outside of this, just above the div, we're going to put PHP, and then paste that area right here, if is set error message. Open up the bracket. We'll close that one right here, and then put PHP, and then close the bracket right there. All right, so basically, save that, and we'll re-upload. the index.php. And what we want to do is go back to the browser. All right, so we can go ahead, let's just maybe put 1 and see what happens. Find matches. You left one of the fields blank. I screwed it up, obviously, because, yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. I think I drank too much last night. This should be and. I should have left it there. There we go. Jesus. Oh, man. Get out of here. Stupid. Accidentally loaded that up. All right, so now it should work correctly. Sorry about that. So now we just have one. Blah, blah, blah. There we go. Now it's going to work if they're either both left blank or just one is left blank. You can also style this a little bit better. Obviously, that looks terrible. I think I'll go ahead and do that real quick. Let's see here. Let's go to, that was called alert. All right, so let's get out our CSS. Come down here. I'll put this over here. Yeah. Alert, and I think we can text align, center, font weight, bold, margin, I don't know, let's try like 30 pixels, 0. Now let's go ahead and save that in the CSS. Let's see what this does. Okay, well, yeah, that's not bold because of, where is it at? Let me come down here. To put comma 700 there, I think. And then also background color, we'll make it yellow. And then padding like, I don't know, 10 pixels. We'll try that and see what happens. Also put in index.php because we changed that. All right, so that sticks out quite a bit. That's fine though. All right, so okay, so now that we have that, that's good. So let's come back down here to our index.php. Okay, so both of the fields are entered. Now what do we want to do? Okay, well, basically, you also don't want to allow people to proceed if they only enter like a couple characters, for example. Like if they put like A or just 1 or B or whatever. So there's a function that will be able to count basically how many characters are in a given variable basically. So what we could do is put, I'll just call it character count I need equals strlen post I need. All right, so basically this variable right here will contain a number count of how many characters a person entered. So offer equals the same thing. All right, so now what we can do now that we have that, we can put another if statement. So if, let me just copy that real quick so I'm not typing out all these. If character count I need is greater than, we'll say 3, and then the same thing, basically, with the different variable name. I offer, all right? And then inside here is where they will proceed to the next step. And then we could put an else right here and put another error message. You need to enter more than 3 characters or something like that. All right, so let's see if that works real quick. Probably won't. All right, so, okay, well, I did leave one of the fields blank, so that would fire first. All right, so what if we just do this? All right, good. What if I do this and this? Good. right, so now if I do this, there we go. Nothing happens because we don't have anything inside here. Okay, so basically now at this point, you can probably go through a lot of other functions to clean up whatever they're trying to enter. Like if they only enter numbers, for example, you don't want them to proceed, but you get the idea now. So that's the whole point. I'm not really serious about this project in terms of barterful.com and making it successful. So anyhow, now let's assume, okay, we're here, we're happy with the data. Now what do we do? Okay, well, basically we want to save in a session the information from those two fields right here and here for I need and I offer. And the reason we're going to save it in a session is because they haven't yet entered their email or anything. So this session variable will get sent off to the second step, basically. So first we have to create those session variables. So what we want to do is put session, and we'll just call this I need equals, and what we can do is put post I need I offer. All right there. And then once we've saved that, then what we can do is redirect them to that second step. All right, so what we'll do is header, location, and this is also where we're going to put in an htaccess file. So let's go to File, New File. We'll save this as .htaccess. All right, so now in here, I'm going to copy and paste a few things that I just kind of always included into my htaccess file, and you can use them if you wish. We want to put, I'm going to put this over here, rewrite engine on, and go ahead and put our first rewrite rule. So basically, when it comes to the file names, we could always just put, header redirect step-2.php, but that doesn't look nice. I would just prefer it to be, step 2. Well, the way you do that is you write out this rewrite rule. So rewrite rule, and then what you do is put here the actual directory or the name that you want it to be. So I'll just put in, maybe I'll put final step. All right, and then put a /, question mark, and a number sign or $sign. And then we'll put in the actual file name, step-2.php, and then just put L right here. I can't describe everything or explain everything. It's just how I've done it. I know it works. So yeah, we'll save that, and we'll see if this works. So let me go ahead to here. Just drag that htaccess file in to the root. And if we go to and just type in, what was it, final step? All right, we'll see that it works. Oh, and that's showing up because I don't have that if step, whatever. All right, so now what we can do is come over here, and we can put final-step. All right, so I'm going to save that, and let's see if that works correctly. So we'll enter some data. Oh, what am I doing on line 21? I screwed something up. Sorry about that. Where are we at? Line 21 is right here. Oops, I forgot to semicolon at the end. Yeah, that happens like 50,000 times during the course of project. All right, so now, all right, so let's just put blah, 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 find matches. Good. So now we're at final step. All right, so now what we want to do is check on final step, because you just don't want anybody to be able to go to final step without having those session variables present. So what I'll do is come over here. We'll go to first I'm going to copy this stuff at the top. We'll go to step 2, paste that again. And what you want to do is check, first and foremost, that those session variables are present. So if is set, which means that exclamation point means it's not set. I think you could just put session, I think. I'm not sure, but I'm just going to put I need, just to be certain. And you don't really need to open it up with brackets if you just have one single command. So you can just do this, and then underneath it you can put in, or beside it, it doesn't matter, you can put in like an error message if you want. I'm just going to treat it by doing a header, location, index.php. It'll just shoot them back to that home page, basically. All right, so if it's not set, send them there. Save. All right, so now we'll see what happens. All right, so why is it doing that? Well, it's because we have to basically create the session first, and I have a session include. I should have included it from the start, but that's no problem. Sorry, I had to pause there for a second. So basically, let's create a new file real quick. We're going to save it inside the includes folder. We're going to call it session.inc.php, and inside of here, we're going to put opening a PHP tag. We're just going to put @session start, because you have to start the session in order for it to be carried on through the different pages. And we'll just save that, and then include we'll require once that, and save that, and also same thing here as well. And we'll make sure everything's uploaded to both of those files, as well as the include. All right, so now if we go back to our browser here, and we just type in, whatever here, now it keeps us at final step because those session variables are now carried on, or they're there rather. All right, so wow, that took a lot longer than I thought. We're already at 27 minutes basically. So yeah, I think this would be a good point to stop, just because we're done with step 1, and then tomorrow we could pick up with step 2 and actually, getting this data saved all into a table. All right, so if you haven't yet, check out designcourse.com and subscribe here on YouTube. All right, goodbye.